Hi everybody, welcome to History Made Awesome. My name is Eric, and welcome to a quick fire round of questions. And our guest today is Dr. Katie Stirling-Harris, Associate Professor of History at UC Davis. So, Professor, you ready to go?
Sure.
Okay, quick fire questions, 10 questions. And come with the first thing that kind of comes to your mind. And these are both history and non-history questions. So, Dan, take it away.
Question 1. What historical event would you like to witness live?
Ooh, golly. I'm not being helpful here. There's too many. The first thing that came to my mind was the shooting of JFK.
Okay. Hey, you want to stand? Where are you going to stand somewhere, or are you going to?
Just let it. I don't know. Don't ask for explanations.
Okay.
Have you seen the film 1492 Conquest of Paradise?
No, but I do have a friend who showed it in class one time and then came away from it going, wow, that's 2 hours I'll never get back. So I generally avoid historical films because usually they make me want to tear my hair out. And just like I'll sit there and quietly rant to myself, and it makes me very unpleasant to be around. So, no.
I think the last part of the question is how long would you take to watch out? I would walk out probably the first 5 minutes. That's when I'm like,
It's bad.
It's so bad. It's terrible.
Round.
I know, but apparently nobody else does.
We've been told lies for so long. They said that this was plot of this devil. That monsters guard the edge of the world. And we'll not be told what to be afraid of or what not to be afraid of.
But quite remarkably, the movie inexplicably contradicts itself here because later on, it decides to ditch the flat earth theory angle.
Unfortunately, Senor Columbus, that is precisely where our opinions differ. You are familiar with the work of Aristotle, Eratosthenes, Ptolemy?
I am, Your Eminence.
Then you cannot ignore that according to their calculations, the circumference of the Earth is approximately 22,000 leagues or more.
So wait a minute, how can a flat earth have a circumference?
What is your pet peeve as a historian or as a professor of history?
Oh, there's so many. I actually have a list. I have a written list that I have never quite gotten around, like never worked up the courage to hand out to my classes, but it's basically like the please don't list. And I hate the word webinar. I find it like it's like nails on chalkboard, and honestly, there's so many pet peeves, I've got a lot.
I wonder if I ever did a pet peeve of you. I'm not sure. Probably.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Let him suffer in silence.
I'm too polite for that.
Okay, brilliant. Next one, Dan.
What is a food or dish from Spain that everyone should try when they visit?
The dirty secret is I actually really hate Spanish food.
What?
Yeah.
So you lived there for a full...
I've lived there off and on for many years, and it's not a cuisine tradition that I love. Catalan cooking is different, and Basque is good, but it's not. I am not particularly a fan of Spanish food, and
Good.
I'm not.
Just go to McDonald's and stuff like that. You can.
No, I'm not gonna sink that low. But I recently got into a discussion with a friend about this. It's so common in like mid-range restaurants, and it's this ghastly thing called ensalada rusa. And I recently, a few years ago, I played a kind of mean joke on a friend who I was with in Spain. And this friend was looking at the menu and didn't know what anything was. And they're like, ensalada rusa, that sounds interesting. And I was like, okay. And it comes, and it is like this monster. Its name just means Russian salad, but it is
Yeah.
horrific. And it is like this mayonnaise based. Oh, you can look it up for yourself. There was actually a New York Times article just a few days ago about Russian salad, and every Hispanist I know was just like, no, ensalada rusa, we won't have it. So yeah, I'm not a good person to answer that question.
Okay, cool.
Which depiction of the Spanish Inquisition do you like more? Monty Python's or Mel Brooks?
Gosh, that's really hard to say because they're both so amazing. Monty Python's because it's more ridiculous. Mel Brooks is all, it's basically tits and ass. So Monty Python's is funnier.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
What gets you in the mood to write?
A deep sense of dread and absolute necessity. How's that?
That's a common theme. That's a common theme we're finding. So I think I got the same answer.
What gets you in the mood to write?
Well, usually it's the sense of impending doom and panic with a deadline.
Yeah.
If you could teach any class, what would it be?
Any class at all?
Like it'd be a subject of a class, like you could teach it.
There's a lot that I'd like to teach, but it's really hard to do at the undergraduate level because people just don't know enough. And so you have to spend a lot of time bringing people up to speed. So I've been thinking about doing a seminar on miracles. That would be fun. And I don't know. It's tricky though. You have to find the right readings. The problem is when I'm planning my classes, I often have forgotten what language I read something in. And so I'll have in my head like, oh, and then we can go read that book. It's going to be great because that's a perfect book. And then I'll go and I'll realize that it was in Italian. And I'm like, now I'm SOL. So yeah, that happens a lot. I completely forget what language I read something in.
Do you teach a class on just straight up like Iberian history?
No. No.
Tell me to do that. I was telling Pat needs to do that. I'm like, I wish I could, but I can't because no one.
They won't take it. They won't take it. I teach a class on Spain and the Americas. So it's a really great class, but it's super difficult to teach because you're trying to do both Iberian history and Latin American history at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so it's really challenging to teach, and the students often are kind of like, we have whiplash, and I'm like, I know, me too. But no, I don't.
Okay, well, that'll be my dream class, something on Iberian history. I'll try. We'll see if I get big. We'll see if we can make it happen. But
what is an object in your home office that represents you as a historian?
In my home office, I don't know. The problem is my home office and I've got all this stuff in my office in Davis, and like the good stuff is there. And I went to campus a couple of weeks ago, and that was weird. I don't know, man. There's not a lot in here.
Or you could tell us something in your office meeting to show.
You know what? Okay, so in my office in Davis, there's a really awesome thing that my mother gave me, and it is a little reproduction of a statue that's in a church in Rome. And the statue, it's just an amazing statue, and it's a statue of the body of Saint Cecilia that was when it was discovered in the late 16th, early 17th century. And this statue is amazing. It's, I think, Carlo, I forget the artist's name, but it's just, it's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, I also have in my office, you know, those foam hands that you get at sporting events. I've got one that's flipping the bird and it says "fuck off," but that probably is not. Yeah, that's not where students can see it.
It's okay. Sometimes you just gotta like everything.
Sure, we can do it. What is one thing that you can't live without?
Mechanical pencils.
Was it 0.9 or 0.7?
0.9.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
Mechanical pencils are the thing, and if I ever figure out like what the little gremlin is that hides them, and so I can't find them because they're never where they're supposed to be, and then you go searching for 20 minutes and you can't find it, and then like you find it later in the day.
People think that having 0.9 is like crazy, but like no, 0.9 is like the thing you must have. 0.7.
Yeah.
When you're a very serious writer, you gotta have 0.9. You write so much.
Yeah, you tell yourself that.
I was gonna say I don't have an opinion on graphite size.
Brilliant. Dan, is this the last one or second last one?
The last one.
Oh, okay. Last one. Go.
What is an event or person in Spanish history that is not talked about enough?
Ooh, well, events and people, there's an awful lot, but well, I think it would be really good if Anglophone students and scholars knew more about religious minorities in Spain in the 16th century, like about conversos, but especially the Morisco minority, and about the kind of some of the rich array of characters. I just finished teaching last week. I teach this book all the time, and it's such a winner every time. Everybody loves it, and it is a life narrative by a person who was she was a nun in a convent in the Basque Country, and she was about to have to take her final order of vows and stay there for the rest of her life. And instead, she busts, and this is a true story, right? Her name is Catalina de Arauso, and she busts out of her convent, hides in some bushes for 3 days, and she took needle and thread and some scissors, and she cuts up her nun's habit and sews it into men's clothes. Then she proceeds to like work her way around. She takes on a male identity. She works her way around the peninsula, and then she gets on a boat and she sails to the Americas, and she swashbuckles her way around Peru, kills lots of people. She's kind of a jerk, frankly. And so, but she, and I'm saying she because that's actually it's a real question. Like, is that correct? Right? She has a male identity, but she also has a female identity. Anyway. Long story short, she gets she's about to be arrested for murder, and she takes refuge in a church, and she ends up kind of like playing the gender card to save her own skin, and she becomes a celebrated case, and she goes back to Spain, and she's celebrated, and she's goes to Rome, and she's given papal permission to wear men's clothing for the rest of her life. Anyway, true story, all true. And she's like an amazing, like that. We need to know more about that kind of person.
I feel you. I remember that book actually. Now that you're explaining to it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
That's
like,
right.
She hides in the Covenant. Everyone's like, get her out. I was like, no, she's safe. And
Yep. No, that's like that kind of thing. We should need more of that.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone, Eric here. If you enjoyed this video with Dr. Harris, then be sure to check out the podcast we recorded with her. The podcast can be found in the eye above or in the description below. Thank you.